Welcome to TradersArmy.com, defending your right to build wealth and preserve capital for generations to come.
Welcome everybody to the weekend edition of the Daily Market Commentary. My name is Charlie Fulkerson, joined by my dad, Smart Chuck Fulkerson.
Hey everybody, welcome to the weekend edition of the Daily Market Commentary. I have an amazing co-host with me today as we're lighting up Sunday, getting ready to have an amazing week. We're going to do our daily market commentary like we do each and every day, with a special emphasis on some bigger picture time frames for today. And I might actually even get a little color commentary from my little one, learning about slides and mountains. You can't start them too early, right? If it's a slide, it's going to go down. And who takes over when the market goes down, Charlie?
The Bears.
That's right, the Bears. And who takes over when it goes up?
The Bulls.
That's right. So we're learning. We start them young. But let's go ahead and dive right in. So starting with the S&P. Now the ES today, we've gapped up, but no surprise with what happened on Friday. I spoke about this on my daily market commentary last week. I spoke about how it looked like there was going to be a potential fall off. I did not have a breakout setup, however. I thought, I'm just not willing to play the breakout either direction, and I didn't. I actually sat on the sidelines on Friday, partially because I wasn't in the market. I was actually out and enjoying a couple rounds of golf with some really good friends. So I did not get out and I didn't even want to put anything in because I've actually been a pretty strict rule of not holding anything over the weekend. And so because I knew I wouldn't have a chance to get back in and close everything out, and I wasn't going to be focused at all, I decided just to stay away, and that worked out pretty well for me. Because ultimately I probably would have looked at a potential breakdown right below here, which would have gotten me short. And then at the end of the day, I would have been, I'd be right back to where I started at that breakout point. But we are coming down in the first 2 hours of trading tonight. Looking at a weekly chart, now I will say, I look at some bigger picture time periods on this. That's an ugly weekly candle. I mean, that is an ugly weekly candle. That is I think the term is I don't even know what it is. It looks like a sword. Might be no, it's not a dragonfly doji. That would be the other direction. Maybe it's a gravestone doji. I don't know what it is. But all I know is that we've got a lot of selling. We had a lot of buying all the way up to here, and then we sold off for the rest of the week. And that selling off for the rest of the week was a pretty strong sign of weakness to come. So that would give us, if we get lower, if we get a lower low than this low, then we would have a defined weekly downtrend. We actually don't have a defined weekly downtrend yet because I don't have lower swing lows and lower swing highs. But if I get lower than this candle's low, than this low right here, then I would have a lower swing low and a lower swing high. That would be the definition of a downtrend. So just keep in mind, there are still some big areas here on the weekly chart to pay attention to and some things that we're going to keep looking at. So as it stands right now, we have this area up here, which is the top of a slide. And if we get back to the top of the slide, who's going to take over up here at the top of a slide?
The Bears.
That's right. The Bears would take over. Now notice it has a dashed line, so we would wait for price to come into the area, and then we would hit the sell button as it starts to come back out of the area, as it would be more of a bearish opportunity. As far as the what we have in between, to me, there's not a whole heck of a lot in between on the hourly chart. If you go down to the 15-minute, you're going to find some decent points, and that's actually where we reversed off of today, is this little 15-minute level right here. We gapped up, traded up into it, and then immediately started the sell-off. So I think this sell-off could continue overnight. We'll see exactly what happens with it once this gap is filled. NASDAQ, no different. Same exact thing. We got the top of a slide up here. So Charlie, who's going to take over at the top of the slide again?
The Bears.
The Bears. And at the bottom of a mountain, who would take over, Charlie? At the bottom of a mountain.
The Bulls.
That's right. The Bulls would take over at the bottom of a mountain, but I don't really have any good opportunities because the market has to give me proof. It's got to show me that there's a good opportunity. And right now, I don't really have enough of a defining reason to get long. This area down here could be an opportunity to get long. I actually like the breakdown below it if we do continue to go below that area. So if you really wanted to use this as more of a dashed line entry, you could get long if it comes into here and then comes back out, but only if it touches this area and then comes back out. Other than that, I would not want to look at this as a long opportunity. I actually like the short if it breaks below this area here significantly better. Looking at crude oil. So crude oil, we still have our bullish area set up down here where we have a little bit of fair price value, strong rally up. Price comes back into here. This is where we take the buy opportunity. Not a good selling opportunity above me as to speak of at the moment. And in gold has just been precipitously falling over the past few days. Very strong moves down. Looking at gold, though, on a weekly time period, we are just basing. We've just been chopping around on this weekly chart. There's not a whole lot to celebrate or to get too excited about. But I will say something to slightly concern ourselves with is this proliferation of wicks with upper wicks. These long upper wicks all the time tells me that though we have buyers, they're unable to hold on to any of their gains. And since they can't hold on to any of their gains, that's actually a pretty bearish indicator right there. I mean, that's typically fairly bearish. Although rising swing highs, rising swing lows, same swing highs is kind of an ascending triangle breakout pattern. So I've still got some, a couple of longer term gold positions in play, really as hedges against the market, but they're all in all designed to be hedges. So looking at the bonds now, our bond breakout did occur. And that one should be having you do the happy dance right now. As the breakout has happened, it's now moving down nicely on the bond breakout. So hip, hip, hooray. If you took that bond breakout to the downside, that one's working out nicely. The Aussie, unfortunately, we were not able to get in on this breakdown here. Had originally set up a long right through here. Took it off of the table, decided that was not going to be worth it. Thank goodness that we did, because price came into there and it just didn't work out for us at all on the Aussie. Looking at our Euro trade. Euro trade still in play. I've got a couple of levels up here that could also be in play kind of going forward, but for now I'm not going to add anything to the Euro. And the Canadian. So our Canadian dollar was for sure a dashed line trade. And on the video Friday morning during my horrendous audio, I said that we're not long yet until price comes halfway through. But look what it did. It came down in and just kept on rolling. So this is a signal that we should never have gotten into this trade. The dashed line trades have saved me with so much headache over the last couple of months, because you've got to show me that you're going to change direction or I'm not going to get in. And that's been an invaluable tool. And if you use contingent orders followed by a stop limit, most of your brokers can do that very easily. And what I mean by that is you can set up, for example, on this Canadian dollar, which we just removed it, but you could set up a trade on here that basically said, if we touch this area, this line right here, so let's put our line halfway through. If we touch that blue line, activate the trade with a stop limit order to get me in right here. Meaning it's going to activate the trade down here. It's going to have a stop limit if it gets long coming up out of there. That's really the best way to place that trade ahead of time so that you can actually let your computer set that trade up for you. Last but certainly not least, Great British Pound, Japanese Yen. Great British Pound, we still have our 15-minute level up here that's been untouched. Japanese Yen, we've still got this area up here that's untouched. Nothing really to speak of on either one of these. Copper, we did have our setup right here. This is called nicked by a tick, as we just couldn't quite get it filled, and then it came down smoking out of there. I think it's setting up, though, for a potential breakout to the downside. For those of you that are copper traders, take a look at a breakdown below this region here and see if that is something that excites you. If you're a little bit more aggressive of a trader, then you can you could even short it on the breakdown of this rising trend line. So with that being said, I'm going to turn this thing off. Depending on the movements overnight, we may have a video again in the morning. I have found that the Monday morning videos, if we don't get a lot of movement overnight, wind up just being a rehash of the Sunday night. So we'll see what our market movement looks like in the morning to see if we're going to get another video for tomorrow. But that being said, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. Chuck at iiefinancial.com. I can answer your questions. Charlie, anything you want to say before we log off?
Yep. See everybody. We'll see you on the daily market commentary of the weekend.
Yep.
With Charlie and Smoke. Daddy Fulkerson.
You can tell that he listens to me while I do the video while he's laying. All right. Have a good week, everybody.
Bye.